Jeremy, we arrive at Group D. How big a blow is it to France that there are injury worries about Paul Pogba and N'Golo Kante?
It seems they're both out, so it is a huge factor. Some people think it could work to their advantage because there's this young lad at Real Madrid, Aurelien Tchouameni, who's been playing there regularly. Carlo Ancelotti's put him into the team this season with Modric and Kroos and is supposed to be one of the people to really look out for. But clearly, I wonder whether Kante is the bigger blow. I just think he's been a phenomenal player, one of the best players in the world for the last 10, 15 years. So I think he's much more critical to what happened when they won the World Cup than perhaps people readily appreciated. So there is that voice in my head. But in France, there's so much excitement about Tchouameni, so it'll be really interesting to see how he comes in, and one would think he'll get a starting place now.
Karim Benzema back in the fold for France after a spell not in the national team. How big an impact has his return made?
Well, it's a huge thing. Obviously, just won the Ballon d'Or, came back before the Euros. But I think there's this question when something like that happens, because obviously he's going to play with them in the same team as Mbappe. Griezmann's an option. And Giroud, who I watched a lot of Arsenal over the years, and he's a fabulous link-up player, very underrated. And I think his role, a bit like Kante, might have been a bit overlooked at the World Cup. Although he didn't get the goals, obviously Mbappe was the star man. It'd be interesting to see how Deschamps moulds that together. And sometimes you would think having Benzema is a massive plus, but it might just impact the balance of the team.
Kylian Mbappe, not bad at all in Russia in 2018, but is he ready to really dominate this tournament this time?
You would think, with Haaland not there, obviously Ronaldo and Messi at the stage they are of the career, if there is going to be somebody that might do a sort of Maradona did in the 1980s. He's 23 this time, so he's still pretty young. He was 19 at the previous World Cup. I saw Ibrahimovic talking about the French league quite disparagingly recently, so Mbappe's kind of going along at a goal a game, but I just wonder if he's pushing himself at this stage of his career in perhaps the way that we've certainly seen Haaland do, Ronaldo obviously did with the moves that he made, but Messi did. So that's just my little sort of question mark. But obviously in terms of sheer athletic goal-scoring ability and talent, he could really take the World Cup by storm.
Denmark in the group as well, possibly the story from Euro 2021. How have they emerged from that tournament?
They've really built on the momentum. They qualified with 2 games to spare, scored lots of goals, didn't let any goals in up until they'd qualified. I think they may have done in the last couple of games. And a really good blend of a squad. Maybe could be the final chance in a way for this group. There was Schmeichel, obviously Christian Eriksen, Simon Kjær, who's at AC Milan, the central defender, really big off-field figure. So you feel like it's a moment for Denmark when they've got a real opportunity to do something very historic perhaps for them in a competition, because this is probably, for them it's a golden generation really of players.
Australia and Tunisia rounding out the group. Do you give either of them much of a chance?
Australia, when I was in Qatar during the summer, it happened to coincide with Australia playing Peru in their final playoff to decide who would take this place in the group. And Peru were a far better team technically than Australia and dominated the match really. But Australia were very, very gritty, made it awkward, defended deep, played on the counter-attack, played a bit for a penalty shootout. Felt like the better team didn't make it through, but they got there. So I think there'll be a team that the better teams would underestimate at their peril, but obviously limited in quality. And Tunisia, the same really, one of the biggest outsiders in the whole competition, if we're honest, not limited resources, didn't qualify that easily. So I think this is a group where there's a significant difference really between them and the rest of the group.
I look forward to some very exciting predictions for this group from you, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'll try my best. I'm not gonna stick my neck out, I'm afraid, on this group. I think that France and Denmark are quite a bit ahead of Australia and Tunisia, so they'll be the teams to progress.